I'm never really one to get egotistical, but I'm actually very proud of myself for the fact that I decided to review the original version second instead of first, because if that was the case when I did the reverse order, I would just turn into a nostalgia critic ripoff in a matter of seconds. First off, I want to thank all of you who have been very patient with me finally getting around to this segment, Cali-Critic Classics, because it's been one that I've been prolonging ever since a channel update I did all the way back in October of last year or so. It's been over a 6-month process in the making, but it is finally here, so I present to you the first edition of Cali-Critic Classics for the 1990 version of Total Recall. Total Recall was directed by Paul Verhoeven and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Doug Quaid, a bored construction worker who, while having a hot wife, doesn't really have a lot of excitement going for him in his life. That's until he hears about this place called Recall, where he can get implanted with fake memories that could give him the notoriety or lifestyle of any person he could imagine. But when going through the process and about to finish it off, where he dreams about going to Mars as well, in addition to dreams he's been having of him and a woman on the planet there, something soon goes wrong in the process where he must go on the run and then travels to Mars, in which he ends up facing off against Milos Cohagen, who is after him. Now, I'm not a massive Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, but I still have a lot of respect for the guy, and also for the way he plays a lot of the characters that he's played throughout his 20-year plus career in film. But I must admit that his performance as Doug Quaid is without a doubt one of my favorites. Not only does he work well as the macho action star that he's been ever since he starred in The Terminator, but also he has that very exquisite charm to his character, because he has a lot of campy lines he must deliver, but the way in which he does is just so damn funny every time. Like, the dialogue at times is very witty and cheesy in this movie, but it's for intentional purposes though too. And you mix that together with an actor like Schwarzenegger, it's comedic gold at the same time. Sharon is decent as Quaid's wife, even though she really isn't on screen for most of the movie, but for the time being which she's there, she was a sex symbol back then, and she served her purpose well, so I'll just leave it at that right there. Ronny is also particularly good as Milos Cohagen, the villain, and which, while he doesn't really have a lot of screen time, at least his over-the-top line delivery and at times menacing appearance really works for the benefit of the film's appeal. However, besides Schwarzenegger, there are other few true stars in this movie, and that is the special effects and makeup team and director Paul Verhoeven. The movie itself is inspired by the short story We Can Remember It For You, Wholesale by the legendary Philip K. Dick, and the ideas it takes to tackle on in order to go to Mars, which you never did in the short story, actually works for the film's benefit surprisingly, because while the first half itself is a very smart satire on human nature and also asks a lot of complex questions on the state of the human memory too, once it makes that transition to Mars, it becomes an entirely different movie, but it just gets more entertaining by the minutes though. The balance between the two halves of the movies, for the fact that the first half is set within a dystopian metropolis that's very gritty at times, and then making the trip to Mars, in which it turns into kind of a cyberpunkish universe, it actually makes that very well, because all of the set designs, as much as they are practical in this film, they are all designed to such terrific appeal, in which everything just looks so detailed, and even with the makeup as well for the people that inhabit Mars, because the way in which they mix together how people can die on the planet and also with the aliens that inhabit there, the designs for back then for a movie of that year in 1990 are just spellbinding at times. Paul Verhoeven's direction is very frenetic in this film. The pacing is very fast, and even between all the scene transitions there are, it just gets continuously faster by the minutes, and when it comes to the violence too, it is very bloody at times, but at that frenetic pace that you're going for, you're enjoying it at the same time. But there's something strong that Verhoeven brings to just about every single science fiction movie that he's made, and that's the satirical element, and this one in which it plays on human nature in a dystopian future and how they interact with the world around them and also the other people that walk amongst them too. The satire isn't as strong when it goes to the planet Mars, but it is retained at the same time, which is something that's tough to do, but Verhoeven nets it down very well though. And even better for I will love a movie like this is because it continues the trend of how you can point out actors from Breaking Bad that star in this movie. For instance, Dean Norris, who plays Hank Schrader, the DEA agent in that show, played Tony, one of the aliens that helps saving Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the film. Which I gotta admit, you keep on making those connections together of all these Breaking Bad cast members that have been in objects of such cult acclaim, it just makes it even better. The one problem with this movie is that it doesn't entirely hold up today for the mass audiences that have evolved over the past few years, but for me, as a person that took it for the fact that it was made back in 1990 and visual effects were still evolving over time, it certainly works for me. And also, a very vibrant score by the late composer Jerry Goldsmith, I could go for that any day, and I just really love this movie. It's one of the best science fiction movies I have seen, even though it doesn't completely hold up to the time with every bit of the audience that see it today. However, of course I said before, it's one that still has a special place in my heart today, and also one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger performances without a doubt, and that's why I give the 1990 Total Recall 4.5 out of 5 stars. So if you enjoyed my review of the original Total Recall, Recall, and if you've seen the film, which I'm sure many of you have, leave your thoughts on in the comments below, and also be free to say what would you take on the lifestyle of if you had new memories implanted in you, if there was a real recall in existence. And always, if you want to see more videos by me, click that subscribe button, and also click this link right here, which will take you to my review of the Total Recall remake. Also be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, and also give my blog a look sometime too. So in the meantime, Tar from CaliCritic Reviews, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.